Good morning, happy Monday, and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football show in the world. This is the Group of Five guys. Our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media refuses to be. We need your help to do that. Hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, share with your family and friends. On this episode, we've got our first coaching carousel victim in the Group of Five. We've got to talk about a ton of college football playoff implication games and plenty more. Hope you enjoyed the show. This is the Group of Five guys, and we are coming to you live.
They got Old Dominion week 3, and ODU is by no means a layup. Group of Five guys told me that, so that has to be true.
We looked at each other, we was like, Mike, the best place to be is a Group of Five. So I'm sitting here with the Group of Five guys, right?
Troy has won, it's been a winner, and it's a special place, so it's why you want the job.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
It was across there. You want to have this thing packed out, have the student section packed out, giving those guys hell on the sideline. I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
win or lose, like we're winning the tailgate.
There's no better place to be developed in this country than Boise State.
What a weekend. Here we are, October 13th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. We've got however many coaches across the country canned already. So those conversations have started way early. We've got upsets. We've got, you think you know something about a team, and then they beat somebody you didn't think they'd beat, or they just get absolutely bludgeoned by somebody that they've got no business losing to. So we have got a lot to talk about. But before we get into it, I'm going to go double, triple advertisement for Deca Grey Coffee this morning. I got the shirt on, Deca Grey Coffee. They got merch on there, by the way, some pretty cool merch. I've got the coffee in the cup, and then, of course, I'm going to give you my spiel right now. Deca Grey Coffee, roast to order coffee. When you go on their website, decagray.com, you click purchase, you put in our promo code GOFG. That's when they roast it. That's when they bag it and ship it directly to your doorstep. Roast to order coffee. They got whole bean coffee, ground coffee, and K-Cups available. So make sure you check out Deca Grey because you're going to need it, especially starting tomorrow night, because there is college football Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pretty much the rest of the way. So we are in the thick of it. We are almost halfway through the regular season. So make sure you check out decagray.com. And then also make sure you go to the Discord, Level Sports Picks. Click the link in all of our bios. Check them out. Winning plays left and right. Somebody who won a big one last night.
Oh, boy, that was everybody. Well, everybody who followed Jay Vandy and the coach's desk did a little collaborative effort. First quarter play, Sunday Night Football. Big win. $31 bet. I had a little profit boost on there, too. Came up, $1,200. No problem.
Oh, that's it, huh?
Vandy came up $6,000, so. But he bets large.
Well, when you have it, that's why you got to go on the Discord to do that bankroll calculator to know whether you can bet $100, $1,000, or if you're a guy like me, $10 on some of these things like that. So make sure you check out that Discord. Link is in our bio on all the social platforms. Jeff, I think it was pretty much known. It was only a matter of time. Most people expected this to happen sooner rather than later. But UAB pulls the trigger on Trent Dilfer. You always hate to see people. Well, first of all, let me say these buyouts are so big that these head coaches are going to be just fine. But you do hate to see some of the guys on the staff. You might have some position coaches making less than $100,000. They got to go home and tell their wife and family that they are more than likely going to be without a job before the season is over. But what's your initial thoughts on that? UAB fired Trent Dilfer.
I mean, we saw this coming. Writing was on the wall. I mean, all the antics and sound bites and all that stuff, that's fine when you're winning, but you weren't winning. And it really hadn't been super competitive. Again, I agree with you. I hate when people get fired, but it's part of the job, right? So Alex Mortensen, the head or the offensive coordinator, is now promoted to interim head coach for UAB. I know the fans wanted it. The fans also seem to want the athletic director fired, but as of right now, he seems to be in place. So we'll see who they go after next. I don't know, Sprouse. There's a lot of candidates out there. You had kind of an older veteran, former player, obviously in Trent Dilfer. Do they go younger? Do they go old? I don't know. There's a couple of different routes you could go here.
Yeah, and I don't want to be the group to get on here and speculate, especially if somebody is coaching another team. I think that's it just depends on what you want. You know what I mean? Do you, and if you have the administration in place that it seems like is very similar to a place we often talk about, but do you go the young up and coming coordinator that maybe nobody has really heard of? Do you try to do some kind of a retread, somebody older? Do you want some stability at the program? But the problem is, if the administration is as bad as the fans say that it is it a job that you want? Especially like, because you got to understand something. If you're a young guy, you're a coordinator, you're coming up, you're going to be a hot name, and you go take a head job at a place that isn't set up for success, and you likely fail there, you may not get another chance. So you may be committing coaching suicide to go. And I'm not saying UAB is this way. I don't know. It seems like that's what the fans think it is, a lot like Middle, for instance. And we see what's happening at Middle. So it's a risk to go to a place because you're not replacing a guy that got promoted, right? And I'll just use the example because everybody thinks he's going to leave eventually. It's John Summerall, right, at Tulane. You go replace him, you're in a place that has invested. You're now on a second coach that's been successful there. So now you've got a bit of a program. So you can go, that's a hot job. Now, UAB, I'll say this, they got the facilities, they got the stadium, they got the indoor, they got it all. I mean, they have everything from a resource standpoint. It seems, sort of live in the shadow of the other in-state universities is kind of what happens there, I think. And the administration is fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't have any like specifics. This is all secondhand things we hear and read. Don't have like super deep connections at UAB with any admin or anything like that. But yeah, you hear these things and you see certain events transpire throughout the last couple of years, and it just seems like, you made the comparison to our alma mater from a leadership and just program athletic department standpoint. So we'll see what happens. Interested to see what kind of domino effect some of the other pieces that have fallen this weekend, how they affect coaches that are currently in the group of five. Of course, you're already seeing John Summerall, GJ Kinney, names that have been hot names the last couple of years come up immediately, for some of these jobs.
Yeah, well, of course, James Franklin at Penn State, which I don't know. I don't really like it, but apparently on Twitter, everybody seems to think it was the right move. It had to happen. I mean, all I know is this. I saw a clip of those fans booing his daughter or something walking through the tunnel. Why do you want that job? That guy took that program. You got to remember when James Franklin got to Penn State, dude, they just about abolished the athletic program there.
Yeah,
maybe they should have, for what was going on at Penn State. And that guy brings them. It's not like they were winning. The AD's thing that came out said, we hold our athletic program to a standard of championship, Big Ten championships and national championships. Penn State correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, has won 5 conference championships ever. And one of them's under James Franklin. So, I mean, I think they think they're a little better than they are as a program, a great program. Obviously, they got great fans, they got support. That's the catch-22, right? You have fans that are going to show up every week and sell out your stadium. That also comes with fans that boo the coach's daughter on the way out of the tunnel. That's what it is. You don't get one or the other. It doesn't seem like anyway.
Well, you just have this unrealistic, and there, like, it is a realistic expectation for them to want to compete and win national championships. But here's the deal. Like you mentioned, Sprouse, they weren't that far removed from not even competing in their own conference. They go to the playoff last year, obviously beat
one game away from playing for a national championship.
Yeah. So it's like,
but he can't, they say they can't. Sorry, Jeff, I'm interrupting you. They say he can't win the big game, but the next game is always the bigger game for him. They won 2 playoff games and then they lost the third one. So he went 2-1 in big games, people don't think like that. They think like, oh, only if he loses. This is the Michael Jordan philosophy. These are the people that think Michael Jordan played for 6 seasons and he won a championship every time. That's what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, these people lose. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. My fault.
No, you're good. The point I was going to make is just be careful what you wish for, because you could get somebody in here who looks like a hot name or comes over from somewhere else in the same conference and might not be a good fit. I mean, you might be down for a couple of years. Like, you just don't know. And I think this day and age, the Amazon Prime era, everybody wants it now. They want it right now. And if you have a bad couple games, just be ready, because you could be out on the next, out on the stoop, so to speak. So yeah. I don't know. I just think it was rash, in my opinion. I really do.
Me too. Well, they're less than a year away from playing Notre Dame for a spot in the national championship. And then they are less than 2 weeks away from going to double overtime with Oregon, who I know they lost this weekend, but a top 5 team. Yeah, you lose to 2 bad ones. Although, hey, Northwestern, by the way, starting to look a little better. That Tulane beat them by 3 touchdowns, isn't it?
No, Sprouse, that was early in the year. That
was week 1. They were trying to, that new system.
Count. Can't count that.
You're right. Yeah, and then again, I know you look at Florida, who's like 2-4 right now, but it's not like Florida is getting blown out by all their SEC teams. They're going toe-to-toe with everybody that they've played on their schedule. They're just, again, I've said this a zillion times. They talk about their hard schedule. They're just losing, they're playing close games. They're just losing them. But anyway, so the good news about James Franklin is I think he'll be a name for some of the lesser name P4 programs. He might take one of the spots that everybody thinks is going to go to a Goalish or a Summerall or, somebody like that. So that's my hope. Maybe Arkansas goes. Now, the worst part about this is, Jeff, I can't get up here every week and talk about agents and having the conversation with players about transfer portal, because damn well that agents are having the conversation right now about what coaches want, what jobs, and what's going to come open later. And some jobs that haven't even happened yet. People haven't even been fired yet. Damn well that administrations and agents are having the conversation. Hey, what does Coach X think about Florida? Napier's still there. He ain't fired him yet. What does Coach so-and-so think about Florida State? They hadn't fired Norvell yet. So it's going to be frustrating. And, come December, come time for playoff, and that's going to be the problem ongoing, especially in the group of 5, because whoever the rep or 2 that makes the playoff their coach is going to be getting phone calls. It's just a given, no matter who it is, whether it's Silverfield at Memphis, Summerall at Tulane, Goalish at South Florida, Chesney at James Madison, Sean Lewis at San Diego State even.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so let's talk about some of these games in the group of 5 that, in my opinion, had big playoff implications, starting with the game Friday night. First of all, man, Denton, Texas, North Texas students, alum, everybody that showed up. Was that not an incredible environment?
Bravo.
Did that not you get Andre Ware, and that's probably the ESPN. That's probably their seat. That's their weekday, but it's a good weekday staff,
Yeah, they're not
right?
bad.
Andre Ware and them, and nobody watched that game and thought, boy, this is bad. This is group of five. That was big time football. And it's because of you have the crowd, you have the atmosphere, you have the production, you have the ESPN crew hitting at all the camera angles, everything they got. And it was an awesome game to watch. And, the score 63-36. But really, that's because South Florida scored like 4 times in a span of 3 minutes. I mean, they were down 7 to up 21, literally within like 3.5 game minutes. What a wild game this was.
I haven't seen a game like this as far when it comes to offense and just pure scoring, and I can't tell you how long it was. It was nuts. And what's even crazier to me, obviously, you get the 63-26 final. I think South Florida has more they can give. Early in this game, they kind of look like they're just, and maybe this is how Golish wants them to play, loose and having fun and just kind of going out there and slinging it around. But like, there's just certain things that happen, especially with Byron Brown. I'm like, God, I just don't know if I like that. It's just making kind of silly mistakes and just kind of running around and playing, pick up tackle football. That's the kind of the feel it gets, but maybe that's what they want. And, credit to South Florida. They came out and put it on North Texas, and Drew Messamaker finally looked like a young quarterback because they heated his ass up and he made some mistakes while getting hit, getting pressure, and you just can't throw I'd rather you take a sack than turn it over because you can punt and flip the field.
Yeah.
But, North Texas or South Florida did a good job of running some inside twists up front, bringing an extra, late linebacker, and it just got to him. And he threw some balls into double, triple coverage when he shouldn't have, and South Florida made him pay.
They gave up 36 points, but you're right. That South Florida defense, the way that they fly to the ball is so impressive. I mean, when Mac Harris, those linebackers, like every time you think you got a chance, there's just 5, 6 defenders right to the ball immediately. They've got that stereotypical South Florida speed all over that defense. I think you're right about Byron Brown. Sometimes it just looks like he's out there playing with his buddies, just having a good old time. I'll throw a pick, no problem. Fumble on the goal line, no problem. Which maybe that's why they don't fall apart, and you look on the other side, North Texas, when they started turning it over, it did seem to be a little bit of a snowball effect. But I've talked about that it tends to be Florida teams. I don't know why at any level. They're a very front running, like they are. I don't know what it is. They're doing good. You're like, oh my God, these guys, this is the best team I've ever seen. But stuff starts to go wrong and they start to snowball. But South Florida didn't do that on Friday night. And again, I mean, they go and score with 2 seconds left in the first half, which what a play call, by the way, on that. Everybody's selling out, and then they just find a wide open. What was it, tight end, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting there wide open. They go and do that with 2 seconds left in the half. And then they get the ball coming out of the half. A minute into the second half, they score. Now they're up 7. 40 seconds later, they go score again. And then a minute after that, a scoop and score for a touchdown. So a North Texas lead becomes a 3-touchdown deficit in about 3 minutes. And that's what we talk about on this show all the time. It's one play, 1 or 2 plays here. If North Texas didn't they muff a punt before that first touchdown or that last touchdown of the second half? But either way, it's that one special teams play, dumb penalty, turnover that can change a game. Literally, this is a perfect example. Literally within 3 minutes, you're up 7 to down 21. And that's college football, folks.
It's crazy. It's just crazy to think that they got more. That they could play an even better, cleaner game that would allow them, to have a bigger effect on the game. And I think what happened with this is South Florida's run defense, man, it has been really good. And as much as North Texas wants to throw the ball, to hold North Texas to 97 yards, their offense is actually, I think, more predicated on being able to run the ball and keep that offense on schedule, ahead of the chains, and efficient. And when they couldn't do that, they had to really just throw the ball a ton more than they wanted to and put a lot of pressure on Mestamaker. So shout out Byron Brown, 5 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 3 in the air, out there just having a ball, playing football.
He's a freaking load too, bro. Like nobody can get him down. Now you got to hope they don't lay an egg this week against Florida Atlantic, because if they don't, and Memphis handles business, although Memphis, we'll talk about this on Friday, going to have to play against an interim head coach, which we know.
One game bump.
We know. Yeah. So both of them got a big game. And then the following week, big showdown in Memphis. Navy and Temple. Navy. This has been, I don't know. Preseason, we talked about them just having a schedule that was going to allow them to be 8-0 before they play Notre Dame. And maybe this is a result of their schedule. But they just keep finding ways to win. And they look good at times. They look bad at times. I mean, Temple, I think, is pretty good, man. And Evan Simon played another good game. Only 1 touchdown, but 0 interceptions. And again, Temple had this game won. Jay Ducker goes and scores with a minute 16. And then, I don't want to call him, certainly not Captain America, but, Admiral America or whatever. Blake Horvath, dude, right up the middle. It's coming, but that's where that option gets you, right up the middle, 51 yards for a touchdown. And then the nuts on the best beard in college football to go for 2 and go for the win. And they get it. And they barely get it.
Barely get it. You got to give a lot of credit to Temple. This was one where I was like, this game, I think it was a 2-touchdown spread. I was like, there ain't no way. There's no way this game was going to be that one-sided and lopsided, especially with Temple being at home. And you mentioned Evan Simon. He has played great. He just gives, he makes plays. I don't want to make it seem like he's a game manager, because I don't think that's what he is. But not turning the ball over, playing clean football has allowed Temple to be in every game that they've played pretty much this year, outside of, the lopsided Oklahoma game. But you got to give him a ton of credit. Jay Ducker had a big game, 2 touchdowns on the ground, but when it mattered, this Navy offense, and I love it because they take the bones of the traditional triple option and they do a lot of innovative shifts and motions and return motions. And then, they'll fake the dive. Horvath will act like he's going to run it and just linger, and then he steps back and throws to a wide open, tight end where nobody's, because there's so many things, so many keys on a defense that you have to, all right, dive, quarterback, pitch. Oh shit, it's actually a pass. It's like there's only so much your brain can process and handle in a matter of 3 seconds. I mean, maybe less than 3 seconds, honestly. So I love watching them. They're a lot of fun to play. Obviously, Heidenreich is incredible, but Horvath, man, Maverick. It's like I don't know what we could call it. We got to know his call sign, like Top Gun.
Yeah. He's got to have. Well, you got to find out. Was he a senior? He should have his assignment coming up. We can do some research on that. But you're right about that. When they fake the dive, then they fake the option, and he's sitting there like a yard behind the line of scrimmage, and then it's like a step back jumper.
Yeah,
it's like when James Harden takes 4.5 steps and shoots a 3. That's what it's like. And the problem is, if you're a defensive lineman playing against that option offense, you're not pass rushing.
Yeah, you're not rushing up the field.
You're engaging, and you're just sitting there kind of waiting to handle your gap. So even though he's sitting there a yard behind the line of scrimmage, there's no pressure because they're selling out for the run.
And you got man coverage in the back end.
Yeah, dude. And it's a little bit, Air Force has been putting up a ton of they're all doing it. All the academies have they're innovating a little bit, and they're really, really fun offenses to watch. And you think we get up here, all the broadcasts get up there and say, well, this offense is not designed to Navy just did it in a minute 16, went down the field. And it's because one missed assignment is a 51-yard touchdown right up the middle. It is an explosive play offense. It just doesn't, they're just doing it with the run or doing it with the I don't even know what you call that, play action, run action, RPO, whatever you want to call it, that they're doing, but it works. Navy
yes, it
still
does.
undefeated. Here's one, Jeff, that was about as frustrating as it can get. I'm sure Dan the Rocket Man Savage is probably still depressed about this. Toledo goes up 21-0 on Bowling Green at Bowling Green, and you think it's over. I thought it was over. I had that game and the James Madison game on the two screens, and I went big screen on James Madison. So I thought it was over. I mean, you look at it was 21-0 Toledo. Toledo had 429 yards of offense compared to Bowling Green's 226 total yards of offense. And somehow, Bowling Green walks away with the win. It was turnovers for Bowling Green that did them in, or for Toledo that did them in.
It's just so frustrating because Toledo, hands down, like when they play their football, they are the best team in the MAC, offensively, defensively, and special teams. But they consistently, and Rocket Man said it best before the year, or maybe it was week 1 or week 2. I can't remember. He called in. He goes, "We will have a game, if not 2, that we have no business of losing, and we will lose it for whatever reason." And I know this is a rivalry game, so that plays a lot into it. But damn it, Toledo, you blew one of my tickets. Can't do it. Up 21-0. RJ Garcia, they run a trick play to the receiver. He throws a 73-yard touchdown. Like, they were just making it happen. And it's just, you hate it. I mean, 1-2 in conference play, Toledo is. I'm speechless. You can't do it. You're up 20. You're up 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. And about to go into the half up 3 touchdowns, and then you give up the late score on a 45-yard little screen to the running back. But hey, man, shout out. Congratulations, Eddie George, Bowling Green. Big round, 2 in a row now for Bowling Green, and that's the first home win in 5 years in that rivalry game. So shout out to Bowling Green for that. And at this point, I think the MAC is probably, I mean, I hate to say they're probably eliminated from any chance at a playoff. Yeah. Air Force, UNLV again. They remind me a lot of Navy, just in the way that they look terrible at times. Defensively, they look terrible. This game, 9 lead changes in the second half, Jeff. 6 lead changes in the fourth quarter. If you just what I said a second ago about Navy, we're talking about an academy. Normally these guys hold the ball for the whole fourth quarter if they can. 6 lead changes in the fourth quarter, 1,200 yards of offense between the two teams, and yet UNLV, who almost lost to Idaho State in week 0, is undefeated still.
Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't matter what the score is, as long as you keep putting W's up there. That's all you can do. But yeah, you mentioned Air Force's offense is so much fun to watch. I mean, Liam Zarka just continues to just put up numbers. You know, he had 136 on the ground, 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards passing and a touchdown. And then you get Owen Allen, almost 200 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. I mean, these are just crazy numbers that, you know, the academy has always put up numbers, right? But usually it's like a, 24-10 type of ball game.
Well,
we're getting
40 yards 50 rushing,
points in these games. But UNLV, they escape. You know, Jet Thomas had a good day. Calandria played well.
Yeah, UNLV, they got Boise right in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be better on defense, and because Air Force is terrible on defense. So, you know, I know UNLV's been scoring every week, but they're not going to be able to do that. I don't think that they're going to be able to just go shot for shot against when you get to the better teams. Now, Air Force, on the other hand, they've already played Boise. They've already now played UNLV. They're going to I bet you they're going to rattle off a bunch of wins here and end up, I mean, what are they, 1-5?
1-5. They got to be the best 1-5 team in the country.
Maybe in history. I mean, their offense is so good, but yeah, they've already played Boise and UNLV. I bet you they'll rattle off something. They'll go beat somebody that they shouldn't beat, and end up. What they'll do is they'll end up. You'll think you're finally going to get a different champion in the Mountain West, and Air Force will go beat somebody like Utah State, and then Boise State will waltz into the championship game and win it again. That's what'll happen here. Speaking of Boise, New Mexico State was at Boise in the late night. This is exactly what I said right before this game. Is Boise's too good. They're better. They're so much better than most everybody in the Mountain West that they're going to be able to just have their way. But again, uh, Dylan Riley, 18 carries, Sire Gaines, 20 carries, Malik Sherrod, 7 carries. So you go, what is that? 45 carries between your 3 running backs to 31 passing attempts for Madsen. And, Madsen, 21 to 31, 226, 2 touchdowns. Not great. And if you watch it, there's some missed throws for sure. But again, when they run the ball, they're damn tough to beat. So and maybe they just don't think that they can run it against when they play the better teams. But it bugs me because Dylan Riley is a damn home run threat every time he touches the ball.
Yeah, he is. I mean, over 100 yards for Riley, 2 touchdowns for Sire Gaines, had 65 yards on the ground. This is how they're built. This is their identity, and I can't understand why teams who should know their identity try and do something different in meaningful games. It's like, this is how you're built. You got a great defense, you got a solid, great offensive line, you got a stable of running backs, and you have a good quarterback. Why are you asking him to throw 40, 50 times a game? Like, stick to your guns, control time of possession, limit the turnovers. Exactly what we've been talking about with Temple, and you have a more complete roster at Boise State. Like, look at what other teams are doing. Look at what you've done in the past. That has been your recipe for Mountain West championships and on. Like, I'm with you. It doesn't make sense when they get out of that, out of their like scheme in big games. Like, this is what got you there.
Well, and this is the frustrating part for Boise fans, I'm sure. It reminds me. So, Memphis fans have this same situation, which is like, you're going to win 10, 11 games. You're going to win the conference. Like, so you look at any team in the country, if you told them you're going to win 10 or 11 games and play for a conference championship, like, you'd be pretty excited about that. But there's more on that bone, and they're not getting it. And and you wonder why is kind of the problem. Now, I want to say this too about New Mexico. That D-line, New Mexico's got a pretty good club, man. That D-line was getting after Madsen quite a bit. So they'll be fine. They're not. This is not a fluky New Mexico that won a couple games. I think they're pretty damn good.
I agree with you. And we talked about the stable of running backs that New Mexico has. And this is just a credit to Boise's defense, especially their front seven. You held them to 49-yard rushing.
Yeah.
With Bankston and Humphreys and that entire offense. Like, they need and have to run the ball to be successful. And you completely eliminated it, which puts pressure on Jack Lane, those 2 picks. Like, that is Boise State football. Great defense, stout running game, and we'll take our shots down the field.
Yeah. And tight end involvement, which they did. They had Lauder involved a little bit. So Louisiana had James Madison. James Madison gets another win in the Sun Belt. Closer than you'd like, probably. Old Lunch Winfield. He gave him some problems. He threw it. Lunch, Louisiana's got something with that kid. But anyway, when Louisiana went for the touchdown instead of the field goal at the end of the first half, they were up 7, chance to go up 10. I don't hate them going for it, but I don't like the play. The play. I think they just tried to run it. Hindsight, I'd say, of course, you kick the field goal, go up 10 going into the half, but they went for it, which again, I'm fine with it. Des said, you're going to be aggressive there. I just don't like the play call. I would have rather seen sort of the play call like Navy ran to get the 2-point conversion at the end of the game, where you go some type of action, roll the quarterback out, where you got 2 or 3 options to throw it, front of the end zone, back of the end zone, or run it. What I would have liked to see, but it's neither here nor there. But then it's when your game turned, because James Madison scores on the first play from scrimmage in the second half, and then their defense is too good. They settled in, and took a while to get going offensively, but when they did, James Madison is tough, man. They are really tough. Emmanuel Bush, that defense and that front is brutal to deal with.
That's exactly where I was going to go. Is Emmanuel Bush made some, like, stat line doesn't pop out, but go watch that game. He was dominant, controlling the line of scrimmage, whether it was a run game or collapsing the pocket from the inside on Winfield. there's just I still think James Madison is top to bottom the best team in the Sun Belt. But they're just leaving a lot to be desired, and I can't figure out, is it just offensively they can't get into a rhythm? Like, because their defense has kind of saved them in a lot of games this year so far. Excuse me. And it's just Barnett hasn't looked super efficient, but shout out to Wayne Knight. He continues week in and week out to just look explosive, have great performances on the ground. And then Landon Ellis, big performance on the outside, 6 catches, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So the score shows a lot. You win by 10, but this is a game they should have probably won by 3 scores or more.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And then the other game in the Sun Belt that has completely flipped the Sun Belt upside down and has probably eliminated everybody except James Madison in the Sun Belt. I think it was Juan in the chat. Yeah, the American is rooting for these games. But Old Dominion, I didn't watch much of it at all. One, because I thought that it was going to go the other way. But Marshall kicked their ass, buddy. I mean, and Marshall, somebody said, I can't remember who it was. Somebody said on Twitter, made a really good point, that this is what happens. You have a team that's like Marshall, who is used to being the power, used to being the team that everybody wants to beat, and they're not this year. And then you have Old Dominion, who's used to being the underdog, Cinderella story, fun little team. They were the top dogs going this, and the roles flipped, and Marshall sort of said, "Don't forget," you know what I mean? Don't forget who we are. And shout out to Coach Gibson too. He people have been hard on him to come in there and rebuild that program after Huff left, and that's a big time win. And then look, the East, they're right there in it.
Yeah, they are. And you got to give tons of credit to Carlos Del Rio. He has played really well this season. Finally getting the opportunity to be the guy. Puts up 200 yards passing, finds the end zone twice, and then puts up almost 100 yards on the ground and gets in the end zone twice. So, I want to give tons of credit to Marshall and Coach
100%.
Gibson. Like, I don't want to take anything away from them. But damn it, I am so sick of freaking Old Dominion and these turnovers. Like, you just can't do it. If you want to be considered a top team, which I've been freaking on you guys,
I know,
preseason, throughout the season, you're riding high, and then you get Kojo with 2 picks. You put the ball on the ground 4 times. 4 times. Like, you can't do it, dude. Time of possession and turnovers. Time of possession and turnovers. We say it every freaking single week. And they go hand in hand, and 6 turnovers. You ain't going to win. And then credit to Marshall for taking advantage of damn near all of them and putting up 48 on you.
Yeah, the turnovers. Boogie Trotter Marshall had a pick 6 and a fumble recovery. So he was able to get 2 of those 5. But yeah, 5 turnovers. I mean, you're not going to beat a whole lot of teams there. So much for Old Dominion at James Madison being an absolute heavyweight bout. Now, what I will say is, and we'll talk about it on Friday, you better be careful, James Madison, because Old Dominion is going to come in there. They are going to practice hard this week. If I know anything, which I don't know much, obviously, if I know anything about this game of football, what I do know is Old Dominion is going to have their hardest midseason practice that they've had in a long time after that performance on Saturday. Let's look at the American a little bit real quick before we get into some voicemails. Charlotte and Army 24, Charlotte 7. Charlotte, defensively they played okay, but only 178 total yards of offense for Charlotte. So, you're not beating Army like that.
Yeah, Kel Helms gets the start. 143 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. They're going back and forth, and I don't know if they're just seeing who operates the offense more efficiently or what the deal is, but big day for Helms.
We do need some more lanyards.
Well, he's talking about mine behind me.
I know, I see them back. Well, I got mine kind of hanging on the thing there.
Gotta get some more. We gotta
get some more. Well, we gotta go to
I know.
some more games.
We gotta
the good ones are when you get the lanyard. Sometimes you get like the cardboard one, and God forbid it rains, or I'm sweating on the thing. So it is what it is. So the game that got Trent Dilfer fired, FAU 53, UAB 33. FAU starting to see some success on that offense. Veltkamp threw for 3 touchdowns, and then Caden Shields Dutton, running back, had 3 rushing touchdowns. So look out, South Florida, because FAU could score some points now.
Yeah, they can. They got the offensive scheme to do it. And they a couple weeks ago they lost big to Memphis. But I remember I was saying the score didn't really dictate what that game looked like, because that offense finally was showing signs of what we thought they were going to be preseason, and they've continued to do it. And now they're 3-3, 2-1 in the American.
And there you go. And this is the time of year, right? You look at teams, and we're going to get to the MAC in a little bit, but you got a team like Miami of Ohio started the season 0-3, and now they're 3-3 and 2-0 in conference. So you're going to see these teams that just, for whatever reason, they play bad in the non-conference, and then they get into conference play and they start winning. That's why you're going to see these teams that are 8-4 overall, 7-5 overall, playing for conference championships. And don't be surprised. Now, UTSA played Rice, and they just, you want to talk about a pissed off Jeff Traylor led team. 61-13. This was a defensive clinic by UTSA. They got a safety, an interception for a touchdown, a fumble for a touchdown, and had 17 tackles for loss in this game. I mean, and 61 points. I mean, I know they scored some on defense, but either way, they scored a lot on offense too.
Yeah, offense was humming. Defense is playing well. And this is what UTSA can do, and they play up to their potential. And I know it's Rice, and I know the style of offense they play, that really don't have to worry too much about the pass game. But this is just a little bit of the potential that UTSA has, and they just haven't really shown up in the big games so far this year. Maybe this game gets them rolling. Owen McCown looked good. You obviously had Robert Henry, Will Henderson. Like, they always have a stable of backs. They can run it. And when Owen McCown is dialed in, it's hard to stop that offense.
100%. Into the MAC, I mentioned Miami. They win 20-7 over Akron. Like I said, 2-0 in MAC play for the Redhawks. So look out for them. NIU and Eastern Michigan, but you knew this one was going to be kind of a sloppy game. 16-10. Both teams' running backs went over 100 yards. Telly Johnson for NIU and Dante McMillan for Eastern Michigan, 137 and 104 respectively. NIU, I hate it for them, because I think they're a quarterback away, I think, from being pretty damn good.
I agree with you. Their defense has played pretty well this year. They're just completely one-dimensional on offense, and that just allows opposing defenses to key in on the run game. They don't have to worry about the pass, and I hate it. 1-5, 0-2 in the MAC. Not a great start. Shout out Noah Kim, gets a big win, 147 yards passing, a touchdown. Then Dante McMillan, over 100 yards on the ground too. So,
can we take a second to give a shout out to the Golden Flash of Kent State?
Absolutely.
42-6. They opened the game with a kickoff return for a touchdown. But how about quarterback Drew Shields? 10 of 18. Okay, not whatever. 10 of 18 for 140. What's that?
Drew DeShields.
Oh, well, maybe it was. Well, anyway, it's a typo on my notes there. Drew DeShields. 10 of 18. 148, but 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers for Kent State.
This was, I feel like when we were at Tulane in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken, that was the game that Kent State played Buffalo. And I was watching that game real close, and I was like, you know what? This Drew DeShields kid is running around, making a lot of plays, and he took some brutal shots and kept getting up and kept going. Love to see them get this win. But when's the last time Kent State's put up 42 points? You can score. It's going to give you a chance, especially in the MAC. So shout out to the Golden Flashes for getting a big win against UMass.
Yeah. One more fun fact for you about Kent State. Well, not really about Kent State, but they're involved. Florida State, the Seminoles, are 3-3 on the year. And, everybody always talks about teams that don't have Power 5 wins, or they don't have. Well, Florida State is 3-3. They have 2 FBS wins. One is versus Kent State, and the other one is versus Alabama. So I'm not entirely sure where the whole strength of record and strength of schedule comes in when we're talking about the number 8 team in the country. That's my big problem. They can lose to a bad team and just get totally forgiven, but somebody else loses to a bad team and they're just taken totally out of the rank. Another team we got to start paying attention to. I've been talking about them for a couple weeks, but Western Michigan, 42-0 over Ball State, 3-0 in the MAC, leading the MAC standings. They held this Ball State offense to 88 yards of total offense. Western Michigan, the defense has been playing lights out the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure you're going to talk about Brock Lowry.
I am. He's been flying under the radar, one of the best quarterbacks in the MAC, and it hasn't been flashy. It hadn't been pretty. He had a good game throwing the ball against Ball State, but he's been consistent running the ball on the ground, keeping the chains moving. He's done a phenomenal job. And to get Kyle Kelly, who's a dual threat quarterback for Ball State, to their entire defense to hold their offense to as many yards as they did, I mean, that's an incredible feat because he's dynamic. He can run around. He's not the greatest thrower in the world, but just his legs alone, you hold him to 7 yards. That's crazy. So shout out to Western Michigan. Dark horse. They were my dark horse going into the MAC.
And 3.5 sacks for Tucker, the defensive end. So
yeah, defensive player of the week, right?
He was for us 100%. Mountain West Conference. I almost put this one in the playoff implication category. Is it time to start talking about the Aztecs as a Mountain West champion CFP contender?
Yep.
I think you got to at this point. Nevada, whatever. But we've seen it week over week over week, and their week 1 loss to Washington State looks terrible. Although Washington State just gave Ole Miss every damn ounce that Ole Miss could have, and again, they're number 3 or 4 in the country right now.
Shout out Sean Lewis, man. I mean, we have been waiting for this offense since he's been there to really kind of get going and to show some resemblance of what, his kind of aura and mantra has been offensively, because they've had the defense. They've had dudes, Trey White, all these guys, and they stayed. Not sure how they got them to stay, but they did. You got a top defense in the Mountain West. You now have an offense that seemingly is rolling. Jaden Denegal's playing well, throwing and running. Lucky Sutton and the backfield, dynamic player. Jordan Napier, if I'm not mistaken, is the 8th top-ranked receiver in the country. When's the last time San Diego State's had a top 10 receiver?
Well, you mentioned Napier, 110 yards receiving and had a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. So this is what I like about San Diego State, because Denegal, you don't have to throw it 40 times to have good quarterback play. 14 of 17, 205, and 2 touchdowns is a phenomenal stat line, especially when you have such a good defense. But they go a defensive touchdown on a pick 6, the punt return touchdown from Napier, and they're scoring they're scoring in every phase of the game, what seems like every week. They are tough. They are really, really tough.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the point I was going to make, is why are we not talking about San Diego State as a playoff team? Because if they run table, which let's look at their schedule. I was looking at it before we got on here this morning. They're on a bye. Then they go to Fresno State. It's always tough to play there. Tough matchup. You get Wyoming at home. You do have to travel out to Hawaii. That offense looks like they're finally rolling like I thought they would. But you get Boise State at home, San Jose State at home, and then you finish the year on the road at New Mexico. The way they're playing, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that they can run the table. And if they do win the Mountain West with 1 loss, abso-freaking-lutely, they should be considered as a playoff team.
And who did they beat? Did they beat UCLA in the Power 4 just as a resume builder? UCLA
Cal,
or was it Stanford?
Shut Cal out, 34-0.
What's Cal's record?
I don't think very good.
All right, moving on.
Let's see. Yeah, they're 4-2. 4-2 in the ACC.
How about that, Jeff? Isn't that something? Also in the Mountain West, Utah State at Hawaii. Wasn't sure how this one was going to go. Hawaii took the lead on a field goal with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Absolutely dominated the fourth quarter. Hawaii went touchdown, field goal, touchdown on their 3 offensive possessions in the fourth quarter, and their defense held Utah State to turnover on downs, fumble, interception. There's your ball game. Fourth quarter domination from the Warriors.
Yeah, I thought Utah State was going to win this game, so clearly I don't know ball, but this is the Hawaii team that, I'm so high on before the season because they have this potential. Bufeli Ashlock, 113 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Defense, especially when they're at home, the defense returned a lot of production from a year ago, and they're seemingly starting to figure it out. So you have dynamic, explosive offense. All you need is your defense to be able to get a couple of turnovers, get some stops. And then you got to deal with all the travel when teams come out there. Like it's a tough place, man. Shout out to Rainbow Warriors, Micah Elhado, finally getting it going.
Love it. The game that probably went the opposite. Well, the next two, San Jose State and Wyoming. Wyoming, you got to give a shout out to them. Although they had 3 turnovers, they moved the hell out of the ball, and Anderson threw for 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. You feel bad for San Jose because, dude, your boy Scudero, the receiver, 10 catches for 180 and 4 touchdowns, all 4 of San Jose State's touchdowns.
Sac State transfer, talked about him on our preseason show. The kid is dynamic, just getting the ball. The top leading receiver in the country. How about that? 2 years in a row, you have the number 1 receiver in the country at San Jose State. But you mentioned Walker Eget got hurt. That just changes the dynamic of your ball game. And then honestly, anytime you go to Laramie, like I know the Cowboys have not looked good. That's a tough place to play. It just is.
Yeah.
There's just no bones about it. So shout out Caden Anderson. Pretty big day. Still, if he can clean up those turnovers, man, they're going to be a lot better spot.
Yeah, 100%. And then Fresno State at Colorado State. I know you're probably going to talk about Colorado State finally looking like, maybe what we thought preseason, but it's the turnovers that play. EJ Warner, we've talked about this every stop he's been at. The kid can throw it. The kid's got the talent. He can play, but he's got a tendency to turn it over. 3 interceptions and a lost fumble. I mean, you ain't winning that way.
You're just not. And it's just so frustrating. Like, you look at some of these games and you have 2-3 weeks of like, all right, this is this team's identity. This is what they've been doing. And then a lot of the time is when they go on the road and they just like forget what they're doing, how they've won the last couple of weeks. And that kind of what happened to Fresno State, man. It's just can't turn it over. But you got to give credit to Colorado State and Jay Norvell, Matt Mummy. Like, this was a big win. Because
that Jay Norvell
game, I think that seat gets real hot.
That's what I was going to say. That seat was warming up quite a bit, and it's a big win. Rocky Beers, the tight end, FIU transfer, had 2 touchdowns. So what a name. Unbelievable. We got to move on to the Sun Belt before we get to a couple of the voicemails. Troy at Texas State, back-to-back overtime wins for Troy. Tucker Kilcrease, man, what a day. 30 at 39, 415, 5 touchdowns. This is a guy that was not even the starter at a position that wasn't a positive for Troy. That was a big question mark for Troy. And he has come in the last couple of weeks and he's playing some ball.
Yeah. To go on the road and put up a performance like that. I mean, this is a statement game for not only him, but for Troy. 2-0 in the Sun Belt. Huge conference win.
Yep.
Are they on a bye this week or do they come back home? Let's see. Now they're on the road at Monroe. Let's see who they got. They got Monroe, Louisiana at home, Arkansas State at home. Troy Trojans might be for real.
Well, in the West is
why
everybody thought Texas State, everybody thought Louisiana, and you're looking at Southern Miss now, 3-0 in the conference. Troy, 2-0 in the conference.
Well, you know what? Zach Branner, Joe Jenkins, you're welcome. You're welcome. Because I posted that long parlay ticket. It was a lot of. I know what it is. All you guys got upset. It's like, you're picking Texas State. Well, you're welcome. I did it for you guys.
Well, I did have Troy.
There.
I'm fairly certain I had Troy as a dark horse in my Sun Belt prediction. Texas State, GJ Kinney keeps getting brought up for all these other jobs, but they got to start winning the games they're supposed to win in the Sun Belt because, again, I love Texas State and their program is on such a trajectory, but they hadn't won anything,
And they're
So
3-3,
anyway,
0-2 in the Sun Belt.
who else they lose to in the Sun Belt?
Hold on, let me look.
While you're doing that,
Arkansas State.
yeah, I mean, anyway, App State with another big win, 41-20 over Georgia State in front of probably 200 people, 150 of them from App State probably. How about JJ Cole though? 309, 4 touchdowns passing. This is a good solid win for App, and I talked about it last week. Their schedule, they're going to be sitting there 5-2. Is that, or what are they now? 4-2?
4-2, 1-1 in the belt.
Yeah. So I mean, App State starting to creep up, starting to see some success.
You know, this was a game that I kind of expected them to lose. I did, just because it was on the road. You know, Georgia State had played James Madison pretty tough, and it just felt like the way App had kind of played this year, like they'll have a win, they'll look good, and then they'll have a letdown game. So for them to go on the road and get a big win, Isaiah Cummings, 6 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown, big performance for him. This has got App State in a good spot. Good spot.
Yep. And then moving on, last game that we're going to talk about on the weekend is Coastal Carolina 23, Monroe 8. Coastal now 3-3 overall, 2-1 in the Sun Belt. But they go, you want to talk about a balanced offensive attack for Coastal. They go, or at least balanced on the ground, I should say. They go 227 rushing yards, 6 guys over 20 yards on the ground, and they didn't throw it at all. But you get a win. And now all of a sudden, again, 2-1 in conference, 3-3 overall. I think you take that if you're Coastal. I know Tim Beck's seat was kind of warm, but you're right there in the mix for the conference.
I just have to imagine, and you're right. This was a big win for the Chants, but I have to imagine for the large portion of Chanticleer Nation that they were upset that they won this game, because
probably
they're like, here we go. This just gives Tim, because the vast majority of things I see on social media, and I know the echo chamber that it is, but most of them seem to want a new regime in there. But you got to give credits. Big win, sloppy game, but you get a big win, big conference win.
Steeple. You see Steeple in the chat.
Oh, is that shots up?
No, she's just said, say it. Say it. Is Coastal back, Jeff? Hey, couple games tomorrow night in Conference USA. New Mexico State at Liberty. Liberty's minus 10.5. You know, I think New Mexico State's a little better than that. I think Liberty's going to win. I think close, though.
Yeah. Being at home, I mean, Liberty still, I think, has one of the best rosters in Conference USA. They've just not played great. So excited to actually watch this game and see Liberty at home after coming off of a win. I think Liberty takes care of business.
Yeah, and then FIU at Western Kentucky. FIU's on a 2-game skid here, and they've been giving up a ton of points, both to UConn and Delaware in their last 2. Maybe not better than UConn, but Western Kentucky's offense, you know, can throw it. You know they can score points. So it's just been the theme for FIU over the last couple of years, where their first couple, they'll look okay against a big name opponent, and then they'll win a couple of games. They'll win and then you think, oh, okay, FIU is pretty good. And then they just sort of falter. And I'm not sure it's going to go any better for them tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, I think Western Kentucky handles FIU no problem, but the way this season has kind of gone with crazy games, for all I know, this could be a damn ball game all the way up into the final freaking tick of the clock. So Western Kentucky has the more potent offense. They've been more consistent. Defensively, have actually played pretty well. But these midweek games, you just never know. Maybe the over's in play.
Maybe so. I think, you know what I think, Jeff? I think that everybody's not that good. That's what I think. I think there's so much parity that
I agree.
This is what you're going to have. And this is why you got to be careful firing your coaches after 2 or 3 weeks, because everybody's going to be 8-4. Your best teams might go 10-2. That's it. That's what we're going to have. But anyway, let's get a couple of these voicemails, and then we got to get off of here. You guys know the drill, 615-900-4286. Leave your hottest take, your raw emotion post-game. Jeff, let's see what we got.
Hey, y'all, this is Matt from Birmingham. Battle for the Bones is next week. Come for the ribs, stay for the protest. We will have hundreds of signs and banners at the game. Help us fire Trent Gilfer and UAB athletic director Mark Ingram. This month, Gilfer will be a record-breaking coach at UAB. He will break the record for the longest away losing streak. The previous record was in 2014 to 2017, during the shutdown for UAB.
Well, Matt, you got your
Great
wish.
call. You got half of your wish.
Yeah.
Now they may sell out. Protective Stadium may be rocking. Hey, you get Memphis coming into town, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a good game to check out, Jeff.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh boy, interim. I'm telling you, interim head
One game
coach,
bump.
Memphis riding high. They got South Florida the following week. Everybody's talking about game day going to Memphis, going to Beale Street. The recipe is written. It's on the counter. It's ready to make it now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So look out, Memphis.
Never know.
Jalen Kitna's going to throw for 500 yards.
Telling you, everybody's like on notice. What it happens when when coach gets fired. First time caller. He left a 2-parter, so we're gonna play both.
Hey, you guys. This is John calling, Southern California. I listen to you guys a lot. Can't wait for every one of your YouTube videos that come out. Really, really like your content. I'm thinking the Italian sandwich there would sound great. Good luck with your business for sure, but you guys are grinding. You put this stuff out early in the morning. Wow. I'm always surprised by that, man. But anyways, hey, listen, San Diego State alum here, and I know the Mountain West, you guys talk about it, and I know you're giving San Diego State some love on the last YouTube video that you made, especially talking about coming up against Boise. But here's my deal with the Aztecs. Yeah, I'm an alum, and I actually did not the hiring of Sean Lewis as a coach last year, and we were a bad team, and we were really, really bad. And I'm really shocked that most of the defense, like Trey White and guys, stayed with the program. That was the key. I mean, Trey White could be going SEC and playing at any team he wanted to, really. But he chose to stay. I don't know, NIL or whatever. But I'm pretty sure he could have got more money and, better playing opportunities. I mean, Snapdragon Stadium, if you haven't been there, it's a gorgeous stadium. But, dude, we don't even get many fans at this stadium. It's a gorgeous stadium, but the fan base is not following the Aztecs at all. They jack up the prices. It's ridiculous. Like a couple $100 to go to a game for 2 people. No doubt. And but hey, it's weird. I'm an alumni, but I don't like the football team. I don't like the coach. I like the players, so I'm kind of torn, So they're playing right now, and Napier returned a punt. The guy is amazing. He's the wide receiver. He's just money, man. And then they had a pick 6. So that offense hasn't even scored, but they will. Lucky Sutton didn't even get to play last year. Not one play. He's a local high school stud. Sean Lewis didn't let him play because Marquez Cooper got 90% of the plays of the carries last year. And, he was good, but give me a break. So I don't know why these guys stayed, but they did. And this year they're gonna win tonight. They're up 14-0 right now. But I got to tell you something. I'm watching the San Jose State Wyoming game on the TV, and I got the San Diego State game on the computer. I'm watching them both. But you guys were saying San Jose State was going to win the Mountain West and be so good. Man, you guys missed that one. Wyoming, 21 unanswered points. Unbelievable. I'm really happy for that program because, all right, hey, this is John, San Diego State. I got cut off, so I'm calling back. I'll continue because I don't know how that's going to work. But anyways, Aztecs are playing Nevada, and they're not a good team, man. They just got another pick right after I got cut. So this is crazy. It's going to blow them out. But so the Aztecs are going to have a great record, but really their schedule has been soft. They beat Cal straight up and totally kicked their butts. So that's a strong win. Lost to Washington State, got blown out really. But all the other games, they're just not playing good teams. So the record isn't real. It's real, but it's kind of like a mirage. So anyways, the the schedule will get tougher coming up, and we'll see. But Mountain West, man, I like the Mountain West. We're leaving the Mountain West. We're going to the Pac-12, which used to be the Pac-10, which is just going to be another mid-major. It's nothing special like it used to. People are going to think Pac-12 and think of back in the day. It's not back in the day. You know, all these schools are playing everywhere else. USC today playing Michigan, UCLA, Cal, Stanford, which is a horrible program. I watched Hawaii beat them earlier in the year. But anyways, Mountain West, good strong football program. San Diego State, kind of interesting. Keep your eye on them. I don't know. It's good stuff. Keep up the good work. You guys play off each other well. It's great entertainment, and you guys know your stuff. But keep focused on the Mountain West because there's some good football. Did you see UNLV today? Oh, my gosh, I felt so bad for that Air Force kicker who missed that field goal with like just a couple seconds left that could have tied it. But I guess that's what you do when you're a place kicker, field goal kicker. You live and die by that, but it's tough for a 19-year-old kid. Anyways, good stuff. We'll talk another time, but it's been a great college football season so far. See, I like all this mid-level Group of 5 football way more than like the Power 5. I'm just not into it. I'll watch the games, but I like this other stuff. You got stuff you guys are covering. I think you're spot on. Thanks for everything, guys. Bye.
Appreciate you, John.
That's a great 2 calls.
Dialed in too, by the way.
Huh?
Absolutely dialed in. Like,
well, it's pretty funny because we don't listen to the voicemails. Like that's what we just talked about with San Diego State.
Yeah.
But that is funny. The dude was like the most like negative but positive call about San Diego State, dude.
And throwing strays at us, throwing strays at
yeah,
we
missed San Jose State is maybe the most disappointing team that I had on. We both had as being really good this year.
Paper champions, man. That's why you got to play the games.
I know you got to play the game. He's right too. That Snapdragon Stadium, when they opened it last year, or the year before, I think just last year. Like, I don't get it. And people of San Diego, like, what are you waiting on? What they're waiting on is, what's going to happen is they'll go lose to Boise in a couple of weeks, and people will be like, well, see, that's they're not that good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're good right now. And also the admin or whoever's making the prices, that is such a problem across the board, across the country with ticket prices. I told you guys the story when I went to Kennesaw State.
See, that's surprising to me at Kennesaw. But California, man, like that's my home state, dude. Everything is expensive there. And San Diego, like, very similar to the Bay Area. It's a very like popular place where people want to live because the weather is amazing year round.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise. It's a shame, but it doesn't surprise me that tickets and food and everything else is probably just outrageous. But my godfather's a big Aztec fan, and he drives in from the desert, goes and catches some games.
That's far from the Alameda, huh? San Diego.
Oh yeah, that's at the very bottom. You're talking like 10 hours.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say it'll get them to go up there, check out the original deli.
Oh, that's a good stretch.
I make it a day, make it a day trip. Weekend trip. Make it a
20
weekend
hours
trip.
round trip, pal.
But yeah, we got to talk about that a lot in the off season because I've always been under the impression that you make it a hot ticket,
sure.
Instead of trying to make a buck on the few people that will pay that much. You look at what North Texas did, right? I mean, you got to and promote and do it every week. Like it doesn't have to be a ranked South Florida team. Like you got people that probably went to the North Texas football game for the first time, and you cannot tell me, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a math guy, an art guy, if an art guy or girl, you hate sports. Doesn't matter. You cannot tell me that you don't have fun at that game. You're with your friends, you're drinking or not drinking, you're cheering for your program. You're not cheering for the football jocks or the people you don't like or whatever it is. You're cheering for your university to be successful at something so that your degree in the long run is a better degree. So you don't have to, who cares? Who cares who's coming in there if you're North Texas or you're San Diego State? It's like, that doesn't matter. That's why the tailgates are fun. The game's not even on, and you're having fun with your friends. Like, it just is so baffling. And I hope that the people that went to North Texas for the first time, and maybe the people that hopefully will start going to San Diego State for the first time, will realize, oh, I love this. This is a great time. We can do this every week, even when we're playing Portland State or Sac State or whoever else is, an FCS is coming in. We got to start getting, but quit charging them $200.
Yeah,
because
that's
you're
brutal.
talking about, and if you're an alum or something, and let's say you don't still live in San Diego, maybe you do, you live in the desert somewhere, you're driving in. If you want to bring your wife and you got a couple of kids and you got to stay in a hotel, I mean, you're talking $1,500 to go to a game. I mean, you think about when we went to the freaking, it was a playoff game, but we stayed for free and didn't buy tickets and still spent over $1,000 each. You know what I mean? So anyway, we probably got to save the rest of the voicemails for Wednesday.
Let's do one more quick one. This one's not
one more
long.
quick one. Let's do it. We'll do it. Then we'll wrap us up.
Group of 5 guys. Joe Judkins here. Jeff, I'm sorry, buddy. Had to bust your bubble on that. Standing out here at Jim Wacker Stadium. I'm going to give you boys my best and finest Stripes impersonation. Goes like this. Boom, chucka-lucka-lucka, boom, chucka-lucka-lucka, boom, chucka-lucka-lucka, boom. What are you boys doing? Training, sir. What kind of training? Kicking Bobcat's ass training, sir. Boom, chucka-lucka-lucka, boom, chucka-lucka-lucka, boom. Love you, boys. Had a great time here, Zach Brainerd. It was awesome to see you. Enjoyed it. Have a great week, boys. It was awesome. Love the Group of 5 guys. Go Trojans.
Oh, that's great.
Appreciate
That's
you.
good.
You got to link up with Zach.
Yeah, that's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, I hope you guys had a good time out there. San Marcos, special place.
Yes, it is.
I know they're 3-3, but anyway, that's all we got for you. We'll get the rest of the voicemails on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we'll be talking about Tuesday night Conference USA, weekday Conference USA games, predicting Wednesday, Thursday games. There's going to be a lot to talk about every single show now. Keep calling the hotline, 615-900-4286. That's all we got for you guys today. Make sure you hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, share with your family and friends. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday morning.